Hey, and welcome back from the kitchen. That was behind the scenes, and now here we are, right, Max? I'm super excited about this topic now because we have everything that you need to upskill you. So it's about learning, it's about developing new skill sets, everything that makes you more successful in your role, in your career, to grow. Everywhere where you can say, oh, I haven't known that, but it's something new I want to learn. So the upcoming sessions that we have from community members at SAP Community. What we did was we asked the community about ideas, thoughts, projects that they were doing to share their personal experiences with SAP TechEd 2020. And so here we are with really diverse community talks spread throughout the SAP TechEd 2020 channel, one agenda. And right now we have two coming up, so very diverse ones. And the first one will be interviewed by Max directly. So Max, I'd like to hand it over to you and give more insights of what's coming up now.
All right. So I'm very honored to be joined by a friend of mine I got to know like 2 or 3 years ago. We met each other in person the first time last year at SAP TechEd in India. The man I'm talking about is Namit Madan, delivery lead at Mobilitas Consulting. He's inspirational. He doesn't fear trying out new stuff. I know that a lot of folks are looking up to him, not only in India. He has been initiator of lots of SAP Inside Tracks and SAP Stammtisches in India. The bio of him is as crisp as short, a technology enthusiast always looking to learn and share. Let's welcome Namit and talk to him about transitioning from an ABAP programmer to developer. Welcome, Namit. I hope you're doing fine. So great to see you.
Hi, Max. Hi, Maina. Yeah, I'm doing fine. How are you?
We are doing excellent in this TechEd house. How could it be otherwise? I mean, it's so great to see you guys joining us in this TechEd house. And my very first question is actually a soft one. How is your arm doing so far, Namit? I've seen it somewhere on Twitter that you're doing TechEd fun run and walk, but a little bit...
It's still going strong. It's just doing fine. I think I'll be up and running in another week or so. Yeah.
Good to hear, good to hear. I'd like to start with a question about what do you actually mean with from transitioning from an ABAP programmer to a developer? I mean, both sides are somehow code involved, but what does it mean?
I think when I say ABAP developer, I'm particularly concerned about one skill, right, which is ABAP and its related stuff. But when I say developer, for me, programming language is just an art, I'm being the painter and I can paint it with any color. So these colors are programming languages, different concept technologies. So it is that transition where you actually embrace what different things exist in the technology stack, right? So that's what I mean. So from just ABAP to maybe Fiori, SAP Cloud, Kubernetes, containers, the world is yours. You can talk about anything. So you are just a developer who can do anything.
Okay, sounds good. When has this journey somehow started for you and why?
Journey, I think it is still ongoing. But if you ask me when it started around 7-8 years back when there was a blog post from our SAP mentor, Graham Robinson, about a call to arms for ABAP developers. So it had some seeds regarding what is coming next and what is, a move from procedural to object-oriented. So that's what it triggered it, right? But actually the move happened when I actually we got SAP 5, right? And I was like, okay, just like any other ABAP programming language, if we want to learn Web Dynpro or something, we can do it, right? I was like, okay, I will also do SAP 5. So, but then the moment you started, then you realize that, no, I don't know it, right? And then in parallel, I was getting active in the community also. So while becoming active, and once you follow right people, for example, DJ Adams, Thomas Young, so there were too many jargons being thrown, like, for example, Fiori, Cloud Platform, and I was like, boss, all I know is ABAP. I don't know anything else. So for me, this was like a blessing in disguise, or whatever you call it, that actually pushed me that I have to make this move now or never, right? So that's what actually I started slowly, steadily taking some baby steps.
Probably stepping a little back, usually as an ABAP programmer, is you're like dealing with SEAT day in, day out. How did it feel to walk out of this like comfort zone somehow?
It's tough. It's tough. But I think two things definitely matters. One is three, in fact, not two. One is your willingness to change, because that is the first thing, willingness to learn, right? The second is, as I mentioned, once you start following the community, right, it motivates you. It motivates you to take those steps which you would not have taken. And then, of course, people like you, TJ Adams and all, who actually, actually your live stream helped me a lot. So basically, that's where I was like, okay, this journey is not that tough how it looks, right? Yeah, but yeah, it's a different world, but it's nice. I will say that I'm actually, it's a kind of enlightenment. You feel blessed and blissed, right? So it's both.
I got your point. If I'm able to do it, everybody's able to do that.
Yes.
Well, you just scratched a lot of things or touched a lot of things from SAP UI5, from SAP Cloud Platform. How did you identify what's needed for you or what you're interested in?
Actually, Max, that's the perfect question, I'll say, because the moment you start that, okay, I want to change, now you are like, okay, what shall I do? Because there are too many things. There is like Kubernetes, containers, SAP Cloud Platform, and then you have Kima, there are a number of things. And sadly, most of the time you step back and say, I'm fine with the ABAP, I'll survive with it somehow. But I think what worked for me was I wanted to understand at a very higher level that what role each thing plays in this whole technology ecosystem. For example, if we talk about cloud platform, okay, what role does it have, right? If we talk about containers, what role does it have? So I spent good amount of time in understanding it, right? And then whatever interested me, for example, Fury, SAP Cloud Platform, Cloud Foundry, or what do we say, this containers. Then I realized I actually started liking them. And that's where I decided, okay, I need to go in this direction. But there is a catch. Catch is these directions keep on changing, right? So for example, a few months back, not months, I think 5-6 weeks back, I was like, I want to learn now AI/ML, right? And I was like, no, I have to do it. But after 3 weeks, it was like, no, man, I'll still stick to my old one. So it's like you keep evolving, keep learning. It's like very important to understand you don't have to stop learning. It will never stop. If you're a developer, you're a developer. As DJ Adam puts it, learner for the whole life. So that's what something which we shall always have in back of our mind.
I think we already had a first perfect quote for TechEd, never stop learning. What I actually wanted to know, how, in a sense of what approach do you have to learn? Do you read blog posts? I was about to say blog, but DJ would hammer me on that. Do you read blog posts? Do you read documentation? Do you get your hands dirty first? Or what's your take on how to learn something?
I think for me, for me, it started with, I don't know if you remember, that DJ started with Monday morning thoughts. It was previous year or two, prior to that. So those Monday morning thoughts and the other stuff which is happening, they trigger your mind, right? So if I have to learn something, I start from a post, right? It'll be a most probably blog post on our SAP community, or it can be our SAP developer tutorials, right? Or it can be our SAP developer live streams. So that will be my first approach to understand quickly what one thing is, right? And in parallel, I start doing it, because if I'm just watching a video, or if I'm just reading a blog post, or if I'm just reading something, it will not make sense to me unless I start doing things and I get stuck. Then I resolve it, then I move forward, right? So that's how I get the first level of understanding that, okay, at least in theory, I understand what this technology is and what role this play. The next level which it comes as is when actually you start working on the project. So that's where you actually go to documentation and think through, because now you have a basic understanding. You will now understand that, okay, this is how this documentation, what it is saying, what it means. So it's like, it's a two-step process for me. And of course, apart from SAP, we have, there are other resources also which help me. For example, we have a free code camp, right? We have dev.to and other YouTube live streams, right? So that's how it's a combination of both, but it's, as you say, it's more of a practical learning than of first reading the whole book and then starting it. That's bit, I think if I'll read a whole book, actually I'll end up forgetting everything. So it's better you learn on the go, start doing things, and then you, once the project demands whatever it demands, then you start digging more deep into it. So I think that has worked for me till now. Yeah.
All right. Let's put aside the YouTube live streaming for a bit. I'll come back to that in a second. But we've covered a lot of things with documentation, with blog posts, tutorials, videos. What's your preferred format about learning?
I think it is, for me, it is SAP Developer YouTube channel. That is, let's order it, right? I like videos more, right? And then I go to blog post, which is like kind of an experience which is coming, right? And then I think I will go to developer.tutorials, those tutorials. Those I might also start at the beginning also, but preferably it is more of a live video streamings and all, which actually help me, because what I do is I normally pause and then try to do it. And I remember once, when DJ started hands on SAP Dev, his first session was about Node, and I was like, I attended it, right? And it was a 40 minutes or 60 minutes, some session, right? And it took me 1 week to, understand what has been discussed, what has been shown. I used to pause and then do stuff, then read, then do stuff. So it's like mix of both, but yeah, it's more of I'm a video oriented guy, you can say that.
All right.
A streaming guy. Yeah.
Sounds good. Speaking of what you've learned when this whole live streaming came up in the SAP ecosphere, what was the last thing you've learned?
That's like, I think last thing which I learned, I'll say this, overall, I think much of the learning is from these live streams. And last thing I participated on was DevTuberFest, where I purposely was following the cloud platform workflow, right? That to Node.js based, not the CAP. First, I started with CAP, Node.js one, and then cloud platform workflow. And these are the two things I think I learned lastly. Yeah. And there is still much to be done. There are many things to be done in DevTuberFest, which I haven't still now. And now SAP TechEd content is also piling up. So there is too much content overdose.
Speaking of TechEd, do you have a favorite session or a favorite content track you're looking at? Also, I mean, you're talking about moving away from, or not moving away, but broadening your skills from ABAP Programmer to something else. Is there a particular content track you're looking forward?
I am actually, in the morning when the developer keynote happens. So those were like, I think those were the kind of, that's what I was like, when you say, oh, wow, this is the moment. So that's when you say different technologies, including ABAP, coming up and, making something beautiful. And apart from it, yes, I'm looking forward to data intelligence sessions by Vitali, right? So I attended, in fact, in the morning, early morning, it was about creating data pipelines. I liked it. And then I think I'm looking forward to chatbots and more on an RPA area. Of course, if you ask me, where is SAP UI5? Yeah, that's like by default, that will be there somewhere. But these are something new, which I am trying to get my head around that, okay, how do I approach it? Yeah.
All right. We've been talking about live streaming for quite some time already. And I know we both do live streams. I stopped quite some time ago because I was a little occupied, obviously, with TechEd. And I know that you are like absolutely going crazy and viral in India. Not only in India, I always talk about India, but that's complete nonsense. You're everywhere. And I'd like to look a little bit behind the scenes. Why do you live stream?
Wow. So I think, Max, see, I think at least for me, many of my steps have taken inspiration from DJ Adams. I don't know why I keep iterating it, but that's what has actually, impressed or has a huge imprint on my last few years. So we started with hands-on SAP Dev, and then eventually we have the live streams going on. right? And somewhere I felt that I have see this scope that where there is something which I can do for beginners, right? There's somebody, for example, somebody who is coming from an ABAP background to a SAP UI5, he needs to understand JavaScript, HTML, CSS, right? Those basic things. And I can help them there, right? It's too basic stuff, right? But it is still okay. But what brings me the benefit is that while teaching, right? While it's not teaching, it's like interacting with the community, I actually end up learning many things. You know, for example, if I have to talk about any topic, I need to prepare myself, right? And those functional programming, JavaScript, maps, different methods which were difficult to me, but they become easy once I was practicing it, because I have to teach it to somebody. I have to tell them that this is how things work. So the first most important benefit which it had for me was it enhanced my knowledge. Secondly, it helped my community also, right? And community also comes back with very complex questions to which you have to go back and research. So it's a win-win for everyone, right? So I think, and last but not the least, there is a sense of satisfaction, right? Because there is one close friend of mine whose father used to say, you know, you have taken so much from the community, when will you start giving back? So it's one way of, you know, it's one way of completing that vicious circle. You are what you are because of the community, and you will become what because of the community only. So it's to and fro kind of a thing, and a satisfaction. Yeah, that's what.
To get a little bit more in detail, I mean, we are kind of digressing from the original topic, but it makes sense to cover it because it's important. Yeah, absolutely. In order to tell folks out there how you did upskilling, and to like tell other folks out there how they should approach learning. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So for me, it was like actually the good thing which happened to me was I started following right people and was actually staying close to the community. So there were jargons. I call them as jargons for different things which start coming up, and I was like, wow. For somebody who is developing Web Dynpro application module pool, these all things were tough, right? So that's where I put all these buckets that, okay, these are the jargons, right? Okay, when I have to learn SAP UI5, I'll have to understand JavaScript. So I'll understand all these three, four topics at a very higher level, right? And then which will make sense to me, I'll go deep in that. And particularly what helped me in upskilling was, one, a willingness to learn. Second, the mentors around which we have, right? Our mentors, they always are willing to help you out, even if you have a basic question, whatever, right? And of course, our SAP community. And in fact, I remember I started with developer tutorials also, doing like every week one developer tutorial mission or something like that, and which actually helped me in, you know, upskilling at a very higher pace. So it's important, I think, is a willingness to learn. If there is a will, there will be a way. Yeah.
All right. While I was thinking about it, and we have discussions back and forth on offline in Twitter or wherever it is, or at TechEd in India, what's your absolute favorite programming language?
Oh man, that's I think if you would have asked me 5-6 years back, it would have been ABAP, and still ABAP is. But off late, I think I've become fan of JavaScript, not Java.
That was the
I'm
wrong
sorry,
answer.
but
that was the wrong
answer. I'm a JavaScript fan. Yeah.
Yeah, because you've covered that ABAP isn't like not in your scope anymore, but what is the benefit of ABAP still? Because ABAP isn't gone. ABAP in the cloud, etc.
Yes, ABAP is there. ABAP is not gone. ABAP is evolving. In fact, if you see the recent changes which have happened in ABAP, I think they are in line with what any modern language is, right? And I was very much impressed with all the latest construct which have happened, the way it has evolved. It is not going anywhere. I think my first love, which will always remain, is ABAP only. And I think for everyone, it is important is to understand that ABAP is like the root of the whole tree from which this whole world of SAP is created for me, right? So ABAP is a must-have. It's like the basic necessity to be there. Then you go around open source or cloud or other stuff. But you need to understand ABAP. So that's what my understanding is.
Okay. We've covered something before, but I wanted to throw in another question as you've been speaking about chatbots, etc. But is there any, I mean, this session is all about developers. Is there any particular programming language you have on your list?
I think Go and Python is in my list to learn. And overall, I got inspired by one of our SAP ex-mentor, Alvaro, right? He has done 40 programming languages, and I discussed with him what exactly is the benefits. Like every programming language teaches you something new, right? So as of now, I think I'm more willing to learn these two, which will be like, we saw one in action today, and Python was in action in our data pipeline session with Vitali, right? So these all are, I think, are relevant languages. But if Max, you want me to say Java, then I am sorry, man.
This session is going nowhere without Java. No, I'm kidding. I'm just making it up. I'm absolutely in favor for Java, but nobody's forced to love Java. We are almost at the end. I'd like to at least wrap it up from your side. Is there like anything you want to mention for the community out there? What's important, what they need to know if they want to upskill?
I think I'll have 2, 3, 4 points. Let me quickly wrap it up. One is be willing and be open to learn, right? Embrace the change. Don't resist it. It is, the moment you start embracing things, you start moving forward. Be active in the community. Doesn't matter if you don't know the answer, at least read it, right? Like it, right? You share it. And fourthly, I think is follow right people on Twitter. When I say right, is for me, right is anybody who is close to technology, who inspire me, who motivates me. So you can follow those. And I think these 4 things, if you have, I think the world is yours, the sky is yours. There's no limit. So that's what all I have to say, Max.
All right. With that, I hope you have a quick recovery with your arm. And I'm curious about, do you plan any further contribution to the TechEd Fun, Run, and Walk?
Yeah, walk. Yes, day 3 is tomorrow. So 2 days we have done. Day 3 is tomorrow. So yeah, let's bring it on. This is the best thing. You walk and you listen to the sessions which are happening. That's what I did in the morning. I was listening to Vitali's session in the morning, and it was awesome. So it's the benefit. Yeah, I'm in, man.
Okay, all right. Namit, thank you so much for taking time, for being part of SAP TechEd 2020. Take care, and I wish you a quick recovery with your arm.
Thanks, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Namit, for coming on and for telling about your story and inspiring others out there to learn more and broaden your skills besides ABAP. I just can relate to that. I mean, my journey was kind of similar. I don't want to chime in whenever he was talking. I just wanted to say something about my history, because I've been starting with VBA, so developing in Microsoft Office products, moving over to COBOL, a very, very old-fashioned language, as we had it in the developer keynote, to Java, to again from Java to ABAP, from ABAP to cloud-native stuff. And it's really, really, really important to find people they can inspire you, and Namit is absolutely one of them.
He's also an SAP champion, right?
Absolutely. What are SAP champions, by the way?
Oh.
That's always your part.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
missing out bridges.
I thought you would be doing it, but it's okay. As you can see, what Namit shared is that everyone can learn. You will never stop learning, and sharing that with the community, even by providing answers or writing blog posts, definitely helps you to also grow on yourself, like as an expert. As he said, there might be other questions coming up and you're like, okay, I need to deep into that topic again, but it's what makes you stronger and makes you also more confident in the topic that you know. So for everyone, whether you're a beginner or an expert, it's definitely great to have the community with you. And as an SAP champion, what they do, they are highly contributors. So it's one of our influencer programs together with the SAP mentors. And the SAP champions, they are there for helping you, everyone in the community, whenever you need it. So really great to have heard from Namit here.
Hearing from Namit, why don't we have a look at Namit's community profile, for example?
Sure, that makes it definitely a bit more clearer. If there are folks out there that don't know the SAP community, we have community.sap.com, where all influencers are listed. Amongst them is Namit and a lot of others. We have a SAP Champions wall where you will see some of them in the background in some of our occasions here in Channel 1.
Absolutely. I mean, I already went to the homepage of SAP Community. What you could simply do if you're looking, for example, for Namit, I'm brave enough to damn it once again. I already failed at developer keynote, but never stop trying out stuff. So I'm just looking for his name in the SAP Community and hit enter. And we should have the possibility to filter not only for Q&A. They will definitely see Namit is actively contributing to questions, blog posts, etc. But if I want to see his profile, I filter for people on the right-hand side, click on his profile, and I will directly get forwarded to all the information you need to know about Namit. For example, his YouTube live stream we just talked about. Make sure you follow him. I do already follow him. I will not click on unfollow here because that's not what we want folks out there to do.
The good thing is that every SAP TechEd attendee can log in directly and get connected with all the influencers, with everyone that you just heard, or also browse through the topics available. So I think it's definitely worth checking it out and having a look.
What I've just forgotten, because we've been speaking about inspiring people, it's not only Namit, there is a whole section in the SAP community where we can find SAP champions you have been talking about, SAP mentors, and I'd like to have a look at that as well in a second, if you approve.
Yeah, it's great that you showcased how to search for people and content, so that's definitely the place how to go. It's a program, it's one of our SAP community programs, so all you need to do is going from the homepage to the programs, and from there you will find all the influencers listed.
In all influencers, right?
Correct.
And we'll take a second, and as you can see, there's SAP champions where Namit is a part of it. We have SAP mentors, we have seen them, for example, in the executive keynotes. We have developer advocates, where I'm a part of, and I think it's already at the end of a demo because my battery is running out of time.
And we